Good morning, children. We have already completed, manure, fertilizers, irrigation, cropping pattern. Now, in today's class, we'll be starting with the crop protection management, and that's the third main topic. Just recollect your first class. In that, we have studied about crop variety improvement, crop production management, and now crop protection management. Okay, we are protecting now how to protect our crop that we are going to learn in this class. Now, see children, here we have chosen the best quality of the seeds, right? After choosing sowing them, right, we have given the nutrients in the form of either manures or fertilizers. Then we have given water at regular intervals from the various sources like well, tube well, dug well, river, and so on. Then we decided, before that we decided the cropping pattern also, that the seeds should be sown in so and so pattern. It can be intercropping, mixed cropping, or crop rotation. So we have followed all that, and now we are talking about crop protection management. As you know that the crops are exposed to the insects, so many pests. Now once the crop gets infested with the pest, then the seeds become diseased, the grains become diseased, and we don't want to purchase diseased things. We always purchase good quality things, right? So here, if farmers suffer loss, definitely their income gets affected. So farmers have to ensure that they are providing protection to their plant also. Field crops are infested by a large number of weeds, insect, pest, and diseases. If weeds and pests are not controlled at the appropriate time, they can damage the crop so much that most of the crop is lost. What are weeds? Weeds are unwanted plants which grow along with the main plant. Okay, you can read xanthium. These are the examples: xanthium, parthenium, cypernus, rotundus, etc. Remember these names. They compete with the crop for food, space, and sunlight, and use nutrients and reduce crop yield. So they compete with the main plant. These are unwanted plants, right? And they should be removed before they flower, because if they are removed after they flower, again they will grow. As and when they get water, they are going to grow again, because the spores remain in the soil and these spores are waiting for the favorable conditions, right? If you see on any land, in the rainy season, everywhere it is greenery, grasses grow well, right? How come who plants grasses there? Nobody. The spores are there, the spores wait for the right conditions, favorable environment, and then they grow. Now, insect pests cause damage to the root, stem, and leaves. See, these are the ways by which insect attacks the crop plant. So first one here is, they cause damage to the root, stem, and leaves. They suck the cell sap and bore into the stem and fruits. They make holes in the stem and fruits. Now you would not like to have a fruit which is having a hole, which is infested with the disease, right? You will not be eating that, you won't be purchasing it. They can reduce crop yield. So these are the three ways, remember this. Diseases in plants are caused by pathogens like virus, bacteria, and fungi, which reduces crop yield. Weeds, insect, pest, and diseases can be controlled by using chemicals like weedicides, pesticides, fungicides, etc. Now these all are chemicals to kill weeds, pest, and fungus. They are sprayed on crop plants or used for treating seeds and oil. Since these chemicals are poisonous, again they are non-biodegradable. They are poisonous, and if we use it excessively, they are going to cause environmental pollution, right? So now what are the weed control methods? Let's talk about that. The first one is mechanical removal. You must have seen farmers, they are removing those small plants, saplings which are growing along with the main plant. That's mechanically, with hand they are removing it. Preventive methods such as, now these are the preventive methods, it's a 2-mark question. Preventive methods such as proper seed bed preparation. That's first. Timely sowing of crops. Okay, we need to sow our crops timely. it should not happen, that one fine day you realize, okay, now I should sow the seeds. There is a season, rabi crops and the kharif crops, intercropping. We have to follow either intercropping or crop rotation. This will definitely help in weed control. Some other preventive measures against pests are the use of resistant varieties and summer ploughing. What is summer ploughing? You must have seen, when you visit in the summer break, you visit various places, you must have seen that farmers leave their field as it is, they plough it and they leave it, so that sunlight reaches to the lower layers of the soil and it will kill the insects, microorganisms which are there, the spores and so on. Right. So, summer ploughing is very important, in which fields are ploughed deep in summers to destroy weeds and pests. Now, children, there is one question here. You can read that question and find out the answer. Now, moving on to the next topic here, that is storage of grains. Now, once harvesting is done, we have to ensure that we are providing space for the storage of the grains. That's very important, because till now you have worked so hard as a farmer, but now if you do not store it properly, again it will be a great loss and farmers won't be able to earn enough money. So, the factors responsible for the damage and loss of grains are biotic factors like bacteria, fungi, insects, rodents, etc., and abiotic factors like moisture and temperature in place of storage. So, you have to ensure that there are no biotic factors also, like rodents should not be there. At the same time, here you have to ensure that moisture is not there, right, because in moist conditions the fungus grows well, the microorganisms, they flourish well, right. Before storage, the grains are clean, the way previously when our great grandparents were there, grandparents were there, they used to clean, first of all they used to wash, they used to clean, they used to sun dry, and then they used to store. But what we are doing now, we are just purchasing it, cleaning it and storing it, right. So, these were the methods previously used, where the grains were cleaned and dried in sunlight to remove moisture, and the storage places were also fumigated to kill pests. So, this is also one of the method which is required, very much required. Let us talk about the last topic of this chapter, which is animal husbandry. Animal husbandry is the scientific management of animal livestock, including their feeding, breeding and disease control. See, previously also, when population explosion was not there, people used to, take care of the animal. But now, why are we stressing on it? Because we are talking about scientific management now. We are more focusing on managing them scientifically, okay. So, how are we going to manage them? That we are going to study now. So, what are we looking into? We are looking into their feeding, breeding and disease control. That is very, very important. Animal farming includes cattle, sheep, goat, poultry and fish farming. So, we will be starting with the first one, that is cattle farming. Cattle farming is done for two main purposes, as you all know. The first one is for milk and second one for labor. They are reared for milk production and farm labor. Milk producing females, which are known as milch animals, and those used for farm labor are called draught animals. Milk production depends on the duration of the lactation period, right. Now, cow is not going to give milk, every time. The cow is going to give milk only after the lactation. Lactation here means when the cow gives birth to a calf. So, the cow is giving milk for the calf. Now, the period of milk production after the birth of the calf. Milk production can be increased by increasing the lactation period, right. Foreign breeds like Jersey and Brown Swiss have long lactation period, and local breeds like Red Sindhi and Sahiwal are resistant to diseases, right. So, they can be crossbred. Crossbreeding can be done because we want long lactation period. At the same time, we want here that it should be resistant from the diseases, right. So, both the purpose will be solved. So, what can we do? We can do crossbreeding of these animals to get desired qualities. Now, we have to ensure that if we are doing cattle farming, we have to ensure that cattle shelter should be clean, well ventilated with sloping floors for easy cleaning. Cattle feed should include roughage containing mainly fiber and concentrates containing protein and other nutrients. We need to ensure that that we are brushing the animal, regular brushing of the animal, bathing of the animal, right. These all things should be done. The floor should be slopy, right? Why? So that when they urinate, it doesn't remain there, it should go down. Now, cattle disease are caused by parasites, bacteria and virus. External parasites cause skin diseases. Internal parasites like worms affect stomach and intestine, and flukes damage the liver. You must have heard about liver fluke. Vaccinations are given to protect from viral and bacterial diseases. So, this is regarding the cattle farming. Let's move to the next topic. Let's talk about the poultry farming. Poultry farming is undertaken to raise domestic fowl for egg production and chicken meat. Improved poultry breeds are developed and farmed to produce layers for eggs and broilers for meat. They are reared separately. Layers will be reared for the egg purpose, whereas broilers will be reared for the meat purpose. The cross breeding programs between Indian breed, that is indigenous breeds, and foreign breeds, which are exotic breeds, for variety improvement are focused on following desirable traits. So, when they are doing cross breeding, okay, between the foreign breed and the Indian breed, their main concern is number and quality of chicks. Now, next year they should have dwarf broiler parent for commercial chick production. Summer adaptation capacity, that means the tolerance to the summer high temperature, it is quite less in these animals. So, here they should be able to maintain themselves at high temperature. These breeds should need low maintenance requirements. Okay, reduction in the size of egg layers, because they have to lay eggs. So, if their size is more, they are going to consume more food, right? And they should be able to utilize cheaper fibrous diets formulated with using agricultural byproducts only. They should not be fed on good quality food. They should be in a position to eat cheaper diets also. So, we should ensure that crossbreeding results in all these things. Okay. Poultry farming is done for egg production and chicken meat. Improved poultry breeds are developed to produce layers for eggs and broilers for meat. Cross breeding between Indian varieties we have discussed just now, like Asil, and foreign breeds like Leghorn is done to develop new varieties. For good production of poultry birds, they are given proper nutrition and kept in hygienic conditions, because the rate of mortality is more in them. If they are not maintained well, if they are not kept at proper place, if they are not given diet, if they are not kept at a place, and if there is no disease controls, then definitely the mortality rate will be more. Broiler chickens are fed with vitamin, protein and fat rich feed for better growth, so that they grow fast and their weight increases. Poultry fowls are affected by diseases caused by virus, bacteria, fungi and parasites. They are protected from diseases by proper sanitation, spraying disinfectants and vaccination. Okay. So, I hope children you have understood. There are in-text questions also on page number 211. Please let us discuss those questions after this video. Let's talk about the second last point here, fish production. Fish is a source of animal protein in our food. There are two main ways of obtaining fish. They are from natural resources, we call it as capture fishing, and if it is obtained from fish farming, we call it as culture fishery. The water source of fishes can be seawater, that is marine, or fresh water like rivers, ponds, lakes, etc. Let's talk about two types of fisheries here, marine fisheries and inland fisheries. What is marine fisheries? The popular marine fish varieties are pomfret, mackerel, tuna, sardines, etc. They are caught by fishing nets from boats. Some marine fishes are farmed in seawater. These include prawns, mullets, perry, spots, mussels, oysters, etc. And as you know, we get pearls from the oysters. Okay. The next is inland fisheries. Culture fishery is done in fresh water and brackish water. What is brackish water? Where sea water and fresh water mix, we call it as brackish water. Sometimes fish culture is done in combination with paddy crop, and we call it as composite fish culture. Now, what is this composite fish culture system? I'll explain you that. In such a system, a combination of 5 or 6 fish species is used in a single fish pond. These species are selected so that they do not compete for food, bottom feeders, middle zone feeders, top zone feeders. So, we have to choose fishes accordingly. As a result, the food available in all the parts of the pond is used. As catlas are surface feeders, rohus feed in the middle zone of the pond, mrigals and common carps are bottom feeders, and grass carps feed on the weeds. Together, these species can use all the food in the pond without competing with each other. This increases the fish yield from the pond. But there is one disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? One problem is with such composite fish culture is that many of these fish breed only during the monsoon. So it is very difficult to collect the fish seed, right, because it will be mixed, right. Even if fish seed is collected from the wild, it can be mixed with that of other species as well. So what is the solution? The solution is that now they will be giving injections, injections to the fishes so that hormone stimulation is done. So different fishes will be given hormonal injections, and then those fishes here will be doing ovulation, and then pure fish seed can be collected, because pure fish seed cannot be collected in the wild also. But yes, when we are doing composite fish culture system, we can do that. To overcome this problem, ways have now been worked out to breed these fish in ponds using hormonal stimulation. This has ensured the supply of pure fish seed in desired quantities. That's very important because it is also in high demand. Now this is the last topic of the chapter, beekeeping. Beekeeping is done to obtain honey and wax. As you know, farmers are doing farming. Along with that, this is their second hand business. If farming somewhere fails, at least they have this option of beekeeping, where they set up the apiaries and they can earn some amount of money. It is an additional income generating source. So honey is used as a source of energy and also has medicinal uses. Wax is used in medicinal preparations and for making polishes. Now what are the local varieties of bees which are used for honey production? They are Indian bee, rock bee and little bee. An Italian bee, the scientific name of it is Apis mellifera. An Italian variety of bee is also being used for large scale production of honey. Now here if you see, there are scientific names mentioned in your textbook. Please children, you are supposed to learn them. Apis floreae, Apis dorsata, right, Apis cerana, indica, these all are the Indian bees. If I talk about Apis mellifera, it is the Italian bee. The Italian bees, now we are talking about the characteristic of Italian bee. Why are we choosing on it? The Italian bees have high honey collection capacity. They sting somewhat less. They stay in a given bee hive for long periods and breed very well. These are very important points. The first point, please recollect children here. The Italian bees have high honey collection capacity. Second, they sting less. Third, they stay in the bee hive for long period. Fourth, they breed well. For commercial honey production, bee farms or apiaries are established, as you all know. The bees collect nectar from flowers and is converted into honey in the bee hives. Bees are artificially grown in apiaries and the honey is extracted by the machine called honey extractors. Now let's talk about the quality of honey. The quality of honey depends upon the pasturage. What is pasturage here? Pasturage means the flowers which are available to the bees for nectar and pollen collection. In addition to adequate quantity of pasturage, the kind of flowers available will determine the taste of the honey. That's very important children here. So the flowers, if you set up any apiary, you need to ensure that the quality of flowers are being planted around it, so that bees go and collect the nectar, and this is how you get good quality of honey. So children, I hope you have understood the chapter, but still if you have doubt, you can always ask me. Thank you children.